dear students. You are very well acquainted with all these things. But students, during my teaching, presently, whatever I'll be teaching, kindly let me know if you have any doubt. You may not ask me in the middle. After I finish my class, you may ask me if you have any problem, if you have any doubt. Do you feel you have doubt in understanding me? Somewhere I go unclear, then please do let me know so that I can clarify myself. And students, during my teaching, I would try to be as simple as possible, because you are all open university students. You must be having a lot of other jobs, I understand. At the same time, you must be working. Many of you must be in service, doing other works. Okay, so that is why, to put least burden on you, I'll be a bit clear with you, very simple with you, so that I don't get ambiguous, I don't create confusion with you all. I hope you would enjoy classes with me. Students, in order to avoid disturbance, kindly mute your systems, so that all of you can hear me clearly. You can see in the list there are about 100 people, and if we just unmute, that will create a lot of disturbance to others. I hope you understand that. Now, students, today in this class, I think, to do justice to you, I'll start with two blocks. The first is an introductory part, an introduction to the teaching of poetry and to understanding poetry. That is the first part. It is just an orientation. Here you will, I'll be explaining you how to first of all understand a poem, then how to appreciate a poem. What does actually appreciation mean? Okay, and then I'll move on to the medieval poet Chaucer. Okay, you may all know probably by now that Chaucer is the father of poetry. So I'll be continuing with that, and in the next block we'll be going to Milton. Okay, John Milton. Now, students, before I go into that in-depth understanding of Chaucer, his background, what made him write the poems that he has written, they are historical poems, and they'll be remembered for all ages in history of British literature. But before going into that, I'll be very much interested. I'm quite enthusiastic to let you know all those things. But first of all, let me tell you, give you an idea how to appreciate a poem. Students, whenever you will be answering questions, the descriptive type questions, first thing that you will be learning is how to appreciate it, because in your exams the question will be based mainly on your appreciation. And also in your future, when you will be taking up career as an English teacher or anything in the field of English literature, this is going to help you not only with the courses, but it will help you analyze everything that you take up in your future. Okay, so actually, students, I may say that this appreciation of poetry, it teaches us in a practical life as well, to analyze things, to interpret things, to understand things, and also to have some kind of clarity in our lives. This is not only applicable in your studies, but also this kinds of analysis, what I feel, this is my personal feeling. So far I've been teaching, and I feel desperately, I feel that yes, this is important. It teaches us how to analyze things in our daily, day-to-day practical life as well. Okay, how you would also understand when I start teaching this. Now, Ananya madam or Hiba madam, are you there? Is it okay if I keep my video off, or do I need to put the video on? Is anybody there?
Ma'am, it's
It's
okay.
okay?
It's okay. You can do it as per your convenience. If you want to put on your video, you can. Otherwise, it's
It's
okay.
okay?
There is no hard and fast in anything.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Whatever you are comfortable with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Now, students, let me start, because our time is quite short and we have to cover so much. If you see the courses, if you have received the material, you could see the length of the pages, or you may just see the PDF, where you can see what materials are loaded, and these materials are very substantial. That OSOU is providing us with, and quite elaborately. Actually, this is lengthy because quite elaborately they are trying to. Oh, you want me to start the video? Video should be effective. Okay, okay then. Okay, now I think you can see me. Um, yes, what I was saying is that here you will find when you start with the materials. I don't know where you all did your UG, but if you see this PG materials, you see that quite broadly, quite elaborately, and quite in a comprehensive way, they have given us the whole idea about. About everything that you find in your PG courses, and please do not think that this is too lengthy, too vast. No, they are trying to explain things to you in a quite clear way. That is what I understand looking through these materials. Now, students, you can see that here, if you start with reading with these materials, you will see that the author of this material is actually trying to say that poetry is quite close to art, painting art, that kind of art, drawing or painting. Okay, because you have to see, examine that art, and you have to understand what it is. You have,
Okay.
students, you may interpret in your own way. Okay, you may interpret, you can see things in your own way. Okay, you can understand a particular piece of art in your own way. Okay, so there is no restriction for that, because you are free to interpret in your own way. Okay, similarly poetry is the same. When you read it, the poet might mean something else, but you might understand it in some other way. So that's completely possible. That may happen. First reason here, if we are teaching British literature, is that when you are reading a British poem, being an Indian, you will understand it as an Indian. Okay, you will interpret it as an Indian. You will not see the British poetry as a British, because you are not a British, you are an Indian. You have many preconceived ideas about things, about our culture. You do not know their culture exactly as you know your
Ma'am,
culture.
may I please interject? Am I please
I cannot hear properly, madam. What you are saying?
may I please request you to because see, when your video is on, actually there is a lot of disturbance with the video and the audio. So I
Yeah.
guess it will be
Mm.
better if you yes ma'am, I guess it will be better
Mm.
if you just switch on your audio and tell, because when you were saying in your audio it was very clear, but now it is
Oh,
it's all
okay.
scratchy and yes,
No, Ananya
we are
madam,
not able to hear you.
but that may be possible. But another thing I can say that people are new, and probably they're clicking here and there, and that is why I too feel that somebody unmuted and this presentation. So it happens.
Yeah,
They're quite new.
yes,
Anyway,
yes.
if you want that, if you think my voice will be clearer, I'm switching off my video.
Uh,
Students, I think students feel better if I put my video on. They
Okay,
are
okay,
used
then
to
it's fine,
those.
ma'am. Then it's fine. Then it's
Hmm.
fine. No, I would like to request the students to kindly do not switch on your microphones, because, as I said, it might create disturbances for the resource person to talk. See, I'm not able to. I couldn't hear what she said in the middle. Maybe because any one of you
Yeah,
must have switched on
yeah,
your
that happened.
microphone. So please, I request all of you to please switch off your microphones. Also, do not present your screens in the middle of the class. Okay? Please. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You can carry on now.
Okay, okay. Still, Ananya madam, if I'm unclear, let me know. I'll switch off the video,
Yeah,
because
sure, sure.
students must understand things best. So if
Sure,
it is
sure, ma'am.
unclear
Sure.
still, let me know.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Definitely. Thank you.
Okay. Now, where I was. Yes, yes. What I was saying is that how you interpret, how you analyze, and how you understand the poem. Your stand is Indian. You are an Indian, okay, and you will understand things as an Indian. You cannot understand things as British, okay. That is quite impossible unless you see some reference to the text, to the poem. You see the reference, you see the background, you see how those places are, what are their political conditions. Unless you see all those details, you cannot understand them as a British. You will understand them or understand the poetry as an Indian. You are an Indian. Okay, your culture, your civilization, everything is quite different from theirs. Okay, you may say that this particular concept of different location makes the reading of poetry particularly very intriguing, very fascinating, very interesting, because we are different people, we are analyzing things through a different way. Okay, I can give you one example. A couple of days back, I was chosen to present a paper in a conference, and there I saw a European man interpreting Arkenora and interpreting Malgudi days. Okay, so Malgudi days, you know that it is completely based on Indian villages. You know, any Indian village is just like the village in Malgudi days. You must have known that by now, your PG students. And that professor was European professor. He was trying to feel what Indian villages are, and I was quite intrigued to listen to him because he gave that point of view, from what is the difference between Indian and British poem. I'll go to that. You will understand, students, what is Indianness, what is Britishness. You will understand, and uh, that's what I was telling you, that that particular European person was trying to see Indian villages just like a European. And listening to him was fascinating because he had his own ideas, own concepts of villages. European villages are quite different from our villages. Okay, okay, you want me to put the video off? All right. You must understand me in the clearest way possible. That is what I mean. And students, once again, if I repeat, if you switch off these presentations, clicking here and there, you can concentrate on whatever I'm saying, and I'll be clearer with you. Okay, because I do not know, unlike our offline classes, I do not know how you can hear me, if you are listening or not, if you are sitting or not. That is very difficult for these online classes, and it's literally it feels like I'm talking to a wall. Okay, so to kindly understand my condition and don't click here and there, just sit and listen. Okay, I'm not asking you to make notes also, because everything you will find in the material. Okay, just sit and listen and clarify your ideas. Okay. Oh, okay. Um, Now, Malgudi Day is actually written by R.K. Narayan, and he talks there about the people in the villages, Indian villages. Malgudi is a village. Okay, I just give you one example how people across the continent, they are trying to appreciate things across the continent, in different, situating in different countries, in different locations. Anyway, so what I was trying to say here with this poetry part is that you are reading British literature. You are reading this as an Indian, so you will interpret in your own way, and doesn't make your interpretation wrong. That is what I was trying to say, because you will write according to your own background, according to your situations, according to your culture, according to your the politics of your nation. So many things are influenced upon us, isn't it, when we are saying something, a poetry. Okay, uh, so that doesn't make the thing wrong, but as here it is, he is trying to say that being a person from literature, when you are reading a poetry, along with that you must know the poet. Okay, you must know the background of the poet, the situation of the poet, what makes him write in that way. All these things you need to know. Okay, so okay, please mute your system, students. Now, oh, these are PG classes, and once I'm distracted, it's difficult. Mute your systems, kindly. That's good. All right. So, as a people of literature, you need to know the background. You need to know the situation. Need to know the poet, because when you are coming for your higher studies, you are no more just reading a poem, just like the way you did in your school or in your college, in your, sorry, in your 11 12, whatever you did, plus 2 or 11 12. There you just saw the poem, and you simply looking at the poem, you wrote the appreciation. This poem is like this, figure of speech is like this, you talked about rhetoric, that much. But here, along with many other things, you need to know the poet. Now you'll be reading the poet as a whole when you are coming to your higher studies. Okay. uh, then he says that when you are writing an appreciation, you need certain elements, certain things that needs to be there in your first few lines. When you are writing a poem, you need to understand the poem. Okay, and you need to write why you like the poem, why you did not like the poem, what are the good things in the poem, what makes the poem a great piece of art, if it is, what are your points of view. Okay, and why is the poet talking in such a way. Now if you see, in the present times, in contemporary times, people are talking about, poems are also written about environmental awareness. So why are they speaking that? Because why are they writing environment in their poems, and why are they talking about pollution in their poems? Because they are seeing lots of pollution around them. They are seeing global warming, climate change, all these factors are there, and that makes a poet write in that way. So always a reason is hidden behind the poetry that you need to explore and excavate. Okay, so this is the first thing you need to do in your appreciation. What makes the poem so unique, why it is so different, why it is so nice, what makes the appeal, what makes it so impressive, that you need to write first of all. Then you may proceed on to write all the figures of speech used, what are the special features used, the techniques used, and then lastly you may go over to the rhetoric part. You may talk about the style of language, the approach of the language used by the poet, and then you may write about the rhyme scheme, meter, all those things you can write. Now we'll go to those part, and then we'll move over to Chaucer directly. I'll just tell you briefly what are these rhymes, meters, and everything, and then we'll go move on to the Chaucer and his part. Now here you can see in your poetic techniques there are mainly three things given here. Prosody, that you need to mark, observe when you are reading the poetry. Then you need to see the meter, and then scancioli. These are the three things that is important when you are appreciating the poetry. Okay, now the first thing is prosody. Prosody is the grammar part present in the poem. Okay, and this grammar actually that talks about that makes up the structure of the verse means poetry. Okay, that makes up the structure of the poetry is known as prosody. The grammar that makes the structure of the verse is called prosody. Okay, and here it also includes the rhythmic effects. Okay, style of the stanzas. All right, these things are known as prosody. Next is you have meter and metrics. Excuse me. Now meter measures the rhythm of a line or verse. Okay, after each line, in each line there is a particular meter. Meter is the measure, that the thing that measures the rhythm of the poem, of the lines. Okay, so that is called meter, and meter is derived from the Greek word metron, and metron means to measure. Okay, measure. You can see that poems have got different length of each line. Okay, so those are all the study. When you study meter exhaustively, then you study about the lines, the length of the lines, the measure of the lines. These are meters. uh, then you have scansion. Scansion means to scan, means to seriously look at all parts of the poem very seriously. When you're looking each and every part, you're scanning each and every part, and there are some symbols used when you are doing this scanning works. Okay, some signs and symbols are used when you are doing with the scanning works. Okay, now actually this kind of scansion, it is important to analyze the poem in a very proper way. Okay, and moving on, these were the three main elements present in the poem that you need to find out, and you may write in your analysis the rhyme, rhythm, the prosody you need to find out. Okay, now I'll tell you what is exactly rhyme and rhythm. Okay, rhyme and rhythm, you may understand that you must have heard in your school or in your plus two classes, when teacher will be teaching poetry, and the teacher will not be reading poetry just like he or she reads a prose. You know, the teacher must be teaching it in a singing way. Okay, woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. So, this is the rhythm that you can feel, you can hear when you recite it along. Okay, but also, if you read it, if you're reading a poem, you're reading it in a very rhythmic way, and there are many figures of speech like onomatopoeia, consonants, metaphor, many things are there that contributes to the better rhyme of the poem. Okay, now this was it from your understanding and analyzing the poems. Now straight away we'll go to Chaucer. I'll now the next part that you have is on Chaucer, the first poet who has written in a very clear, lucid, and the language that we can understand. Because before Chaucer came, uh, Anglo-Saxons were there, and Anglo-Saxon kind of writing was a mixture of Britain. Okay, Anglo-Saxon language was a kind of a mixture of Briton language plus that was Latin language and Germanic language. But now slowly when Chaucer came, he started writing. We got the English as we can understand somewhat till nowadays. Okay, now I'll not go quite behind. I'll because that is not needed. The time when before Chaucer, that is not needed for you. But in your course, you are starting with Chaucer. So Chaucer and his style of writing, you can understand if I give you a brief uh, background information of the time when Chaucer belonged. Okay. Now please try to listen what I am saying. Okay. You are a science student. Okay. Okay, Lima. I'll try to make things understand. Lima, for you, uh, uh, be clear. Try to hear things properly. I'll try to make you understand. Now, I am talking about the time just before, 200-300 years before Chaucer. Okay. Now, if you are from different backgrounds, you can see the materials and you can understand certain things. Okay. If you are from different streams, you need to have a brief knowledge about all these things. If you see your material, the first block talks about Chaucer. Okay. Now, uh, okay, this will happen. They're sharing screen. They're clicking here and there. Okay. You can, if you didn't get your material, you can see it online. No, OSOU. If you click online, you will find study materials are there in e-resources. You may find there. Okay, you can get the PDF. Okay, now Chaucer, please listen to me very carefully. Chaucer belonged to 1300 and 1400 AD. Okay, that period, he belonged to that period, 1300 to 1400 period. That period was known as Age of Chaucer. Okay, Chaucer, Chaucer, Chaucer. Okay, now as I told you that now students kindly hear, and later if you need you can create your own group and you can discuss about all these things. Yes, Sachin, you're right. This is the time when he was born and he died at this time. But I'm talking about age of Chaucer. Age. Okay. Age of Chaucer means the period, that period which was known as the age of Chaucer. That was spanned from 1300 to 1400 AD. All right. Now, yes, he's Geoffrey Chaucer. Very good. I think you people have started with your studies. That's very nice. If you come prepared, that will be easier for me as well. Now, students, now he belonged to this age, but I'll have to go a little behind to make you understand properly. I'm talking about the period of 1066, 1066 AD, because the language that Chaucer wrote was molded from here. I'm not going much behind, but going a little back from 1066 AD. At this time, uh, French people had invaded England. Okay, and the language, the dialect there was Norman dialect. Okay, or you may call French dialect. Okay, now reign of France started at this time, and at this time students, before this those Germanic tribe were there, Anglo-Saxon language was used, but now the aristocrats of England, they started speaking Norman French. Okay, Norman French was spoken at this time, and the common people, they were not yet affected by French, so the common people used the old language, that was Anglo-Saxon. All right, now, I'm not going much into this. At this time, this English started to form, that the language that we are using now. Before all these changes in dialect, English was not there. It was known as Briton. Yes, Briton. Briton language was used. But now you can say that for Anglo-Saxon, now Anglo-Norman, French people have already come at this time. All right. Now, in age of Chaucer, that is 1300 to 1400, and you have already mentioned his year. Now, in this period, three major things happened. There was number one, 100 Years' War happened. Okay, that had an effect and impact in literature. This war was from 1337 to 1453, but almost it was known as 100-Year War. Then second thing, there was Black Death. Third thing was peasants revolt. Peasants means farmers. All these changes happened, and these effects were found not only in the politics of England but also in our literature. Okay, now the main important thing that happened here was peasants revolt. The farmers revolted because at this time there was a reign of Henry VIII that stopped. Edward II reigned and he was killed, and Edward III was the king. Now, at this time, what happened? England at that time got enough profit from wool, from doing the business of wool, WOLL, wool. Okay, and there were lots of sheep, and they started rearing sheep, and they started extracting wool from sheep, and they started to do business on wool. Okay, now what happened now when business on wool increased, farmlands, agricultural arable lands were converted to pasture mane जो प्लेन घास एरिया जोठी sheep mane जाइकी चरी परिबे, and they can eat, and they can sheep can grow, so that the wool will be extracted. So agriculture land or rahilani, it got converted to pastures. Okay, so farmers were displeased, their business, their work, their job was hampered, and they started revolting. That was peasants revolt that happened at that time. Okay, Now, also what happened? Now, peasants, their job was hampered, and also they were forced to pay heavy taxes. Okay, because of this war. So, as a part of revolt, because of these two reasons, ତାଙ୍କର agricultural land କୁ convert କରାଯାଉଥିଲା pastures ରେ, ତ farmers had to do nothing. They lost their work. Secondly, ତାଙ୍କଠୁ ବହୁତ tax ନିଆଯାଉଥିଲା. So what happened? Peasants started revolting and they captured the Tower of London. Okay. Se jo Tower of London thila, at that time kings and rulers of England lived there. So peasants became so angry that they captured the tower. तो एमिति करिकी revolt ହେଲା. Second ଜିନିଷ जोटा ହେଲା, that was Black Death. Plague ହେଲା, plague. बहुत plague ହେଲା. And plague ro minor side ହେଲା कि बहुत लोग को मरिले. Secondly, what advantage happened after this plague, the Black Death, science and medical treatment started getting initiated. सेटा बहुत improve ହେଲା सेई time रे. बुझिल? So this is known as Black Death. Black Death ହେଲା 1347 ରୁ 1351 जाए. ହେଲା? Okay. Now we'll move on to so these were the all background information that happened. Now we'll go to Chaucer. Chaucer kemiti he got affected by all these things, and how he wrote and what he wrote, and how did it become a masterpiece of whatever he wrote, that I'm going to teach you. Okay. Now ତମେ ତମେ ୟୁଜି ଯଦି ପଢିଛ ଇଂଲିଶ ରେ ପଢିଥିବ, ସେ ଗୋଟେ ୱେଷ୍ଟମିନିଷ୍ଟର୍ସ ଆବେ ଅଛି. ୱେଷ୍ଟମିନିଷ୍ଟର୍ସ ଆବେ ମାନେ what you call is a graveyard. ସେଇ graveyard ରେ ବଡ ବଡ poet, writer, those people are buried, isn't it? Now Chaucer here is the first poet to be buried in that particular graveyard. Okay, and that particular graveyard is known as Westminster's Abbey. Our Joti Chaucer is buried is known as Poet's Corner. Okay. Now, for your easy understanding, I am dividing Chaucer's life into three parts. Okay. Chaucer life ro first part re, Chaucer had a lot of influence from France. Okay. He had a lot of French influence. He was a public servant. Okay. And he used to move places, and he got a lot of influence from Italy also. So ତାଙ୍କ जो period 1 ଥିଲା ସେଠି ସେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ French influence ହେଲା. Second, what happened was when he started moving as a public servant, he got a lot of influence from Italy. ତାଙ୍କୁ Italy ପଠା ହଉଥିଲା for work, for government work. Okay, so he had moved to Italy at that time. ତାଙ୍କ life ରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ French influence ହେଲା, that was his initial days, 1343 to 1370. At that time, he got a lot of idea about French language, French culture. ତାପରେ 1370 ରୁ 1385 ତାଙ୍କ life ରେ ବହୁତ ଆସିଲା Italian experience. That was his learning from Italy. Because at that time 1370 to 1385 he had served as controller of customs ସେଠି ଥିଲେ. And very frequently he was sent on diplomatic mission to France and Italy. All right. Now his third period was English period, that is 1385 to 1400. A time 1385 to 1400, last phase of his life, he served as justice of peace and member of parliament. Justice of peace thile, and at this time he was a member of parliament. Ame jota kuchu MP. Okay, ame Indian mane ame MP kuchu. So he was a member of parliament during his last phase of life. So tinta phase asila. Tanko French learning midila because he was a diplomat. Italian learning midila, Italian culture, Italian study. Tanko to both classical study ache na Italian ra. So he got the knowledge of all those things, and also he became a very famous politician and statesman. Okay. And please remember, and you may note it down also, he was the first poet to write in English language. Yeah, ପୂର୍ବରେ English language ହଉନଥିଲା, ମୁଁ ଯାହା କହିଲି, that was all mixed dialects at that time. Chaucer was the first poet to write in English language rather than in French or Latin. Yeah, ପୂର୍ବରେ French, Latin ଲେଖା ହଉଥିଲା, but now Chaucer started with English language. Okay, you get this clear with yourself. If you need, you can make a note of it also, that he was the first poet to write in English. Okay. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ language ଅଛି East Midland dialect, that was introduced by Chaucer. East Midland language. Yes, he is the father of English language. Very good. I feel my students are quite intelligent. Wow. Had it been offline classes, we could have done some discussions also. Okay, so East Midland dialect also he introduced. East Midland, Midland. East Midland dialect was introduced by Chaucer. Okay. Now the poem that he used, as I was teaching you the rhyme rhythm, he writes in rhyme royal in English poem. ତାଙ୍କ जो rhyme ଲେଖିବାର style ଅଛି ନା, that style is known as uh, what I was saying, yes, the rhyme that he used, the style of the rhyme that he used was known as rhyme royal, Royal, royal in English poems. Okay, and also he was the one, again, as you said it very correctly, that is the father of English language and also of English poems. He was the one who gave rhyme and rhythm to English poems. Okay, he was the one who gave rhyme and rhythm to English poems. And he was and there is a critic of Chaucer, Thomas Hackley. He claimed, he considered Chaucer as the founder of fair language. Fair, Fair, fair language. Okay. So many people, many critics, praised him for his style, the introduction of his style. uh, and those styles are very much beneficial to all the other poets coming down through generations. Okay. Now there are many writings which are not there here in your course, uh, in your material. That means it is not there in the course. The background I already told you. His intellectual gain also I told you. Intellectually he gained from 3 countries. First was France, then Italy, and then English. Okay. Then let me see what else is there in your course so that I'll teach accordingly. Okay. Briefly, I'll tell you what all poems he had written briefly. Just have a brief idea. These things are there in your materials. So briefly, I'm giving you the idea so that when you see this, you will get the information. Again, I repeat, our time is short and I have to cover so many things. Okay, so here you can see about his writing. First, he had translated the old English poem Roman de la Rose. Okay, this was an old poetry that was translated by Chaucer, Roman de la Rose. Okay, then the second thing that he wrote, that is Roman de la Rose, Roman, Roman. Yes, Canterbury Tales is there, but in the brief introduction, these things are there. All right, so I'm giving you brief introduction so that when you read all these things, you won't feel confused. Roman de la Rose, Roman, Roman, Dela, Rose, Rose, Roman de la Rose, he had translated into English. Then second thing is Book of Duchess. Okay. Second thing that he had written is Book of Duchess. Okay, and this is his first original work. That is why I'm telling you, Book of Duchess, or it is also known as Death of Blanche. Okay, Death of Blanche. This is the name of the book. Book of Duchess is there. Okay, I'm going there. Yes, that is the Book of Duchess. Very right. And this is his first original work. Now, in this poem, this is a dream poem. It is based on the death of Lancaster. Okay, this is a kind of elegy, you can call it, because it talks about the death of Lancaster. Now, the third one that he wrote is House of Fame. Okay, House of Fame, you can see it's there in his line in his notes in your material. It is there. House of Fame. This is the third one. House of Fame. And here he uses the rhythm style, the rhyme scheme that he uses is octosyllabic couplet. Okay, and House of Fame actually revolves around the dream, and he sees in his dream that he's going to meet the goddess of fame. Okay, so this is divided into three parts, and it is just it is a parody of Dante's Divine Comedy. He is an Italian writer. Okay, it is a parody. House of Fame is a parody on Dante's Divine Comedy. Okay, and also of Virgil's Iliad. It's a kind of parody of Dante's Divine Comedy and Virgil's Iliad. Okay, House of Fame. Fourth one is Annalida and Arcade. Okay, and here he has been influenced from writers like Boccaccio from his work Cressida. Boccaccio is also an early writer. Boccaccio had written Cressida, and Annalida and Arcade by Chaucer is an influence from Boccaccio. Okay. Then fifth one and most important one is Parliament of Fowls. You must have seen this. Parliament of Fowls. 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 Fowls means birds. Parliament of Fowls. Now here he is talking about the birds. Okay. And here in the poem, birds are talking to each other, that you find in the poem, that birds are in conversation, and the rhyme here is rhyme royal. Once again, rhyme royal is the stanza, and also this poem is also a dream vision. And this poem, Parliament of Fowls, it was written to celebrate the marriage of Richard II with Anne of Bohemia. Okay, so they married, Richard II married, and this was to celebrate their marriage. Okay, and the whole plot, Parliament of Fowls, it moves around marriage and love. Okay, and here Richard II and Anne of Bohemia are marrying, but he doesn't name them. He names the character as Filippo. He gives some other names to these characters. You need not know all these things in detail. Next important poem that he wrote is Troilus and Cressida. Troilus, Troilus, and Cressida, Cresede. Okay. Now in Troilus and Cressida also he uses rhyme royal. Okay. Now this Troilus and Cressida was originally written by Homer. Then it was written by Boccaccio. Ah. Just like in Boccaccio in Philantros, he has written Boccaccio. And it was also inspired by Shakespeare had also written Troilus and Cressida, you must be knowing. Okay, and Chaucer had also written on Troilus and Cressida. Yes, it's a legend. Yes, Cressida is the first heroine of classical Europe. Remember, Cressida is the first heroine of classical Europe. Okay, and in Troilus and Cressida, you will see courtly romance going on. And here the part of matter is from Rome. Noble Trojan knight is there, and there are 3-4 characters moving around, and mainly it is based on courtly love. Okay, then next one again, you have somebody has pointed out rightly. The next one is Legend of Good Woman. Very good. Legend of Good Woman. And here, unlike other poems, many of his other poems, he uses rhyme royal, but here he uses iambic pentameter. Okay, iambic pentameter. Uh, then moving on, the masterpiece that he had written is Canterbury Tales. Okay, Canterbury Tales is one of his most famous writings. All right. Then next one that he wrote is Magnum Opus. I'll tell you briefly. Let me not go in depth with all these things. You have just Canterbury Tales. Okay. Now we'll go to Canterbury Tales. This is there in your course. Now, uh, Canterbury Tales is a collection of 24 stories. Okay, and it is incomplete because he died at that time, and the whole volume or the whole group of story was not completed. Okay, he died, that is why. And he wanted to write 29 stories. Okay, now in these poems there are stories, you must have seen. Many of you are answering quite yes, it's incomplete, very good. Now you know what I was saying. It remained incomplete. He wanted to write 29 stories, but it remained incomplete. Okay. But later, this 24 and 9 means 5 stories. No, they were completed later by different writers. But originally, he had written a collection of 24 stories. Now, you will see in the prologue to Canterbury Tales, the line starts like this: April as the sweetest month of the year. Okay, for them, for English people, April is the sweetest month because the winter goes away. Yes, that's what I'm saying. No, 29 stories he wanted to write, but he wrote 24 stories. And prologue to Canterbury Tales starts in this way. I don't know why disturbance is going on. And somebody is not able to hear, and somebody who doesn't know is presenting, please switch off that presentation. Okay, it is written stop presenting. Please click on that. Yes, now that is better. If you click here and there, others won't be able to hear you. This is the problem with online classes. Okay, and I think you should very carefully hear this because this is an introduction. From here poetry started, so this introduction part is a bit difficult. It is critical. Once if you get it, then it will be easy for you to read all other poems. This is the starting, and you might find it difficult. So please hear it very carefully, or some points which I'm telling you may write down so that you will remember them. Okay. Now, the story starts in this way. April as the sweetest month of the year. April is sweetest because they have a very bad winter starting from October, November to March, and in April it's springtime for them, and they enjoy the season, and that is why mainly to thank God that they have survived that last winter, they go for pilgrimage. Okay, so that is the theme of Canterbury Tales, that people are going for pilgrimage to thank God that they have survived winter. And those people, those who have formed a group, one by one, they are telling stories. Okay, so this is the whole background of your Canterbury Tales, that they are going to pilgrimage, and while going to pilgrimage, the journey is very monotonous, very boring. So one of them each is telling a story, so that will make their trip easy and convenient and interesting when each person tells a story. Okay. Now you can see that Canterbury Tale, it starts at Tabot Inn. There's an inn. Inn means a kind of hotel where you can stay as well. Tabot, Tabourt. Okay, it is near London. And here in the prologue, here he is discussing 27 pilgrims. Okay, and he is not saying anything about the second nun and some other character. He is introducing 27 pilgrim here. Okay, and also remember, in the inn, in this hotel where they are resting, the owner, or you may call the host of this inn is Harry Bailey. His name is Harry Bailey, Harry Bailey, Bailey. Okay. Now here you will find uh, the many characters are there, and among these characters, 24 characters, what Chaucer is trying to portray is nobility. Okay, nobility, Nobility, nobility. Then they are trying to depict church, and then they are depicting commoners, noble class. Okay, church, religious class. Please remember, this is important. First, the noble class people. Okay, he is trying to tell the story of the noble class people through the characters. Second, he is talking about church through the clergy, through the people, those who are connected to church or Christian religion. Thirdly, he is depicting common people of the period. All right, three classes of society he is depicting in the whole of Canterbury Tales. Okay, now the group that qualifies upper class is the knight. You will find the characters: the knight, the squire, and the prioress. Okay, the knight, the squire, 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 and the prioress, Prioress, prioress. Okay. Now these three people, they qualify as upper class people. Okay. Then also the other aspects in throughout the poem that you find here are the seven deadly sins. Please remember all these things, dear students. Okay. Now other apart from these three classes of the society, their depictions, their portrayal, he is also talking about the seven deadly sins according to Christianity. Okay, this is depicted by Chaucer. He's talking, and although he's talking about seven deadly sins, but two deadly sins he has not discussed through these examples of the characters: jealousy and homicide. You know, there are seven deadly sins according to Bible. Okay, out of which five he has portrayed through his characters, two he has not portrayed. Jealousy and homicide is not portrayed by Chaucer. These two deadly sins are not portrayed by him. Okay, so there are many tales here. You have Knight's Tale, you have Reeve's Tale, Wife of Bath tells a story. These are the characters and they're telling the story. Prioress tells a story. Okay, and also many other people. Nun priest tells a story. Um, Very quickly, I'll go through this and then I'll go over to Milton. Students, we don't have much time. First, I'll start with Knight's Tale. Knight usually means, in usual term, we say soldiers, you may call, or those who protected. Okay, name of the inn. It is Tabout. Tabourt. T for tiger. A for apple. Okay. B. B for ball. Tab. Then Ourt. Okay. Ourt. Tabout. O is there. Okay. Ourt. Okay. Now the first. Can somebody switch off your mic? It is disturbing. Okay. We'll start with Knight's Tale. There are two characters, Archite and Philemon of Thebes. They go to Athens. Okay. Now the knight is telling the story that there are two characters, Archite and Philemon of Thebes. Okay, they are going to Athens, and here this has been taken from classical literature, the classical period. Theseus imprisons them. Okay, in Athens, Theseus is imprisoning them, and these two people, Archite and Philemon, they are in love with the same girl called Emily, and for this girl, they are fighting. Okay, and Archite and Philemon are fighting, and Archite wins, but due to earthquake, he dies. Okay, now this is the story. I won't go into much description. We are running out of time. Okay, so Archite wins the fight for the girl, but there's an earthquake and Archite dies. Now this particular part of the poem of Canterbury Tales is in the form of heroic couplet. Okay, it is in heroic couplet. Now the second one is Reeve. Reeve is telling the story. Reeve. Reeve. Um, and Reeve is the miller, the one who works in the जो चक्की ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ ଚक्की ସେଠି ଆଟା ପିସୁଛି and he steals flowers and grains. Okay, ସେ ଚୋରି କରୁଛି flowers ଅଟା, okay, and grains he is stealing them. Okay, so Reeve's tale is also known as trickster's tale. Trickster যে trick করে, trickster's tale. Okay, now here you will find in Reeve's tale or trickster's tale, there are two important characteristics. The first is that this particular tale, it ends in ambiguous way. Ambiguous মানে last তুমি দেখিব কিছু ভালো conclusion ନାହିଁ, you are getting confused. Okay, so that confusion is purposefully created by Chaucer. Reeve's tale ends in an ambiguous way. Okay, and here you see the hero is the cheat and he is a liar. Okay, and he is the miller जो मिल रे काम करे, miller, he is the miller, अटा जो पिसीबा काम करे, he does that work, and he is a cheat, he is a trickster. So these are special thing you will find in Reeve's tale. Number one, the story ends in an ambiguous way, it is not clear. And number two, the hero is a cheat, is a trickster, he is a liar. Okay, now the third one is wife of Bath. This is important, this is very important. Wife of Bath, tango na achi Alison. Okay, or Chaucer calls her Madame Gossip because she gossips. Alison, Alison. Okay, her name is Alison. She is also known as Madame Gossip. She gossips all the time. She is wife of Bath. This is very important, students. And here she talks about three important things. Okay, she talks about the position of women in society. Number one. Number two, she talks about virginity. Okay, in order to remain chaste, a woman should always remain chaste. A woman should remain virgin. She rejects this idea, this concept, जोटा कि religion भी कौची, society भी कौची, that before marriage, as to a woman has to be chaste, she has to be virgin. Okay, and she rejects all these notions and ideas. She talks about the secondary position of women in society. Okay, and she talks about her 5 husbands. Just see, she talks about her 5 husbands whom she married and left. So you may call this as the first feminist work. Students, you may remember this wife of Bath story. You may take it in the perspective of feminism. Okay, because a lady here at that time, just see, long back, 14th 15th century woman is talking about feminism. She is talking about the baselessness of the concept of virginity. She is talking about the baselessness of chastity that a woman is required, expected to have in society. And then she talks about her 5 husbands whom she loved, and many she rejected as well. Okay, then here also she's talking, she's saying that you must have read, I don't know if you have read or not, that there was King Arthur's knights. Here King Arthur had appointed knights. Knights you may call, to make you understand, like kind of soldiers. Okay, now she says that King Arthur's knight, they were said to be a very pious people, very strong people. Okay, but she had claimed that one of King Arthur's knight was charged of rape. Okay, so just see, she is challenging all the classical notions of Britain or England, whatever you say. Okay, now the major focus of Chaucer in Wife of Bath is defiance. Okay, it focuses on rebelliousness of Wife of Bath, how a woman is rebellious at that time. That was the main theme of Chaucer in Wife of Bath. He's talking about a woman being rebellion in that time. Okay, and also the poem, the story of Wife of Bath, talks about her philosophy of life. Hmm. And Wife of Bath seems to be very keen of her own rights. She is represented by Chaucer as crude, as vulgar, as outspoken, okay, and also be boastfully licentious. She's licentious, okay, and she has got lot of vitality. She's very energetic. She's very voluptuous, whatever you may call. But at that time, this kind of womanly, outspoken attitude was said to be vulgar, licentious. Okay. Now next is Prioress Tale. The next story is by Prioress. Prioress. Prioress Tale. Okay. Now Prioress is this lady. She's visible with a bracelet hanging around her waist. Okay, and this bracelet has a brooch in it. It is written "Love conquers all." Now you can see this is a positive character. This is a nice character that Chaucer is trying to portray, because she wears a bracelet and there is a brooch. Okay, in that brooch, in that particular plate in her bracelet, it's written "Love conquers all." Okay, Prioress is the head of the group of nuns. All right, religious. She's very religious, and when she writes "Love conquers all," that shows that she's quite a devoted kind of lady. She begins her story with a prayer. Okay, she prays, and she is depicts to the Virgin, and she talks about Jewish quarters. Okay, Jew people, Jewish quarters. She talks about a boy in her story. Okay, and this boy, he wants to learn Alma Redemptoris, means how to get redemption. Okay, redemption in Christian schools. On a Jew, how to get redemption in Christian schools. A Jew wants to learn. Jews decide to cut his throat. When mother sings Alma Redemptoris and the boy sits alive, Virgin Mary saves the boy. Okay, so there is a Jew and Christian friction that she's talking about, and probably this is a Jew boy who wants to learn Alma Redemptoris. This is by Christianity, and he wants to learn this, but Jews cut his head so that he should not learn. But Virgin Mary is the mother of Jesus, and she comes and she gives a rebirth to this boy. The next story is Nun Priest Tale. Nun, N-U-N, Nun Priest Tale. Okay, now this is a beast fable that she says. Beast, B-E-A-S-T, beast. Beast fable. Okay, this is a beast fable. It has got a very clear moral. It is about Chanticleer. Okay, got a beast achi. His name is Chanticleer. Chanticleer is a rooster. Okay, Chanticleer, Chaunteclear. Chanticleer. He's a rooster, a cock you can call. Okay. And the moral of Nun Priest Tale is that one should not trust a flatterer. Okay, there's a whole story revolving, and the moral I'm talking in the gist to you. The moral of the story here is that one should not trust a flatterer, the one who flatters, one who tries to praise you in a false way. You should not believe in him. All right, this is Nun Priest Tale. Then there are many other tales you will find here. You will find there's a doctor of physics, there's a pardoner here, there's a monk here. All right, these characters are here. Pardoner here in the story is depicted as a drunkard who eats garlic and is a very greedy person. Garlic khauchi khali, and he's a greedy person. And but he said that he is appointed by God, but he is a false character je pardon kare, mane church re jibo and you confess, pardoner will hear it, but this pardoner depicted in the story is a hypocrite, is a drunkard, mane pura ulta partner, the one who pardons, one who takes such a high position in a church, but this fellow partner here by Chaucer is depicted as a drunkard, okay, and a greedy fellow. Then next you have Doctor of Physics. As I told you, se time re outbreak hothila plague ro, au both medical science develop koruthila. So maybe that made Chaucer to write on Doctor of Physics. Now Doctor of Physics achi, but this fellow is also a very greedy fellow, and he's asking for gold and money and claims that he wants them to do his research. ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ମାଗୁଛି gold and money, and he is claiming that he can do some kind of research, for that he needs money. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ character ଅଛି monk ମାନେ nun monk, okay, a religious person, but he is also a negative person, and he loves hunting. देखो उल्टा monk is such a pious, should be a very pious person, a pure person, okay, a religious person, but this fellow monk, he loves hunting କରିବାକୁ ଭଲ ପାଉଛି, okay. Then actually, students, if you see this whole Canterbury tale, you will find, if you see some references also, you will find, you need to, when you're studying, ତମକୁ ତ ଏତେ time ହବନି, you're working, but I am studying this very exhaustively, so we can feel Chaucer ର ଯୋଉ Canterbury tale ଅଛି ନା, uh, collection ଅଛି, it resembles Boccaccio's Decameron. Boccaccio, Giovanni Boccaccio ଗୋଟେ writer ଥିଲେ, ଏଟା ତାଙ୍କର ଡି କ୍ୟାମରନ କରି ଗୋଟେ ରାଇଟିଂ ଥିଲା, ତାଠୁ ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ହେଇକି ସେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, ଓକେ। and maybe ମୁଁ କାହିଁକି କହୁଛି ଏଟା, ତମ ଯୋଉ ଇଟାଲିଆନ ପିରିୟଡ ମୁଁ କହିଥିଲି, ଚସର probably has read Boccaccio. Boccaccio is an Italian writer ଯେ ଲେଖିଥିଲେ ଡି କ୍ୟାମରନ, probably in Latin language, ଡି କ୍ୟାମରନ, DECAMERON, ଡି କ୍ୟାମରନ ଲେଖିଥିଲେ, ଆଉ maybe probably Boccaccio ର ଡି କ୍ୟାମରନ ଚସର ପଢିଥିଲେ, okay, when he was in his trip to Italy in 1372. Which book you prefer? I prefer number one, Routledge. Routledge, History of English Literature. That is the best. You will find many things in Routledge. जो नया edition गोटे बाहरी that is an excellent work, students. You can see that. You will find many things there. But the thing is that you need to have time, students. You need to have time to read it so vastly that we are doing, because it is our work to do, and try to find things, try to study things. So we have continuously reading, and if you do that, then it will be very good for you. Okay, the next part is your Spencer. Next block achi tamaro Spencer. I think, students, I tried my level best to make you understand things with your Chaucer. Okay, now I need to move on to Spencer. Spencer is also not a small thing. Spencer is a big person. Okay, so now tame जो माने English honors करिछो BA रे, you must be finding it a bit easy. तमरको एटा just extensive पाठ होथिबो, किंतु जो माने नुआ अछंती, it is a very big challenge for them. Okay, because you are seeing so many things newly with your new eyes. Now we'll go over to Spencer. Spencer belong to Elizabethan age. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ age ଅଛି, ବୁଝିଲା? I understand, students, many of you are new. What to do, students? What to do? So that is why I'm trying to be very easy with you, so that maximum things go into your head, and if you find something important, then you may note down also. All right, now we'll go over to Elizabethan period. Now Spencer, Edmund Spencer, he belonged to Elizabethan age. Okay. Now first I'll give you a little bit of Elizabethan age and what is Renassa, that is important, and then we'll go over to Spencer. All right. Now first we'll see what is Renassa and what is Renassa humanism. Now Renassa humanism is basically a period which began in late 14th century. Okay. Just a poro period ta late 14th century. Say time re start hela Renassa period when people began talking, when people began taking interest in earlier times, okay, specifically in the cultures of Greek and Rome. Purna classical period ku tikke refer kalle, and this period was known as Renaissance period. Now the word Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth of classical period text and art. कौन rebirth है Classical period text and art. Okay, paintings by famous Italian painter like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. These people painted during this period only. Please remember, students, this is very important, very interesting. The paintings भी जो Renaissance painting जो हमें कहूँ, yes, right, you are correct. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, they had painted during this Renaissance period. So Renaissance रे खाली हम literature, yes, reborn or rebirth. Very good, students. So Renaissance is rebirth, and you can see that there is rebirth not only of our literature but also of painting. କାହିଁକି ନା Da Vinci, Michelangelo ଭଳିଆ people ଏଇ time ରେ exist କରୁଥିଲେ. Okay. And Renaissance people actually they glorified human beings. Okay. Now earlier people felt only bound to the church. Okay, and they felt that what church is saying is correct. But Renaissance brought classical Roman and Greek texts were human. Okay, and were glorified. Again, church ठीक अच्छी, but now from church the focus shifted to human. कि human being रो life, तांको existence, तांको conditions different अच्छी, and that should be paid more importance. So Renaissance brought classical Roman and Greek texts that were human and those were glorified. Okay, co text ଗୋଟେ simple example ତମକୁ ଦେଇପାରିବି Hercules. Hercules ର text ଏମିତି ସବୁ ପୁରୁଣା classical literature ଗୁଡା revive ହେଲା ଏଇ time ରେ. Same concepts were reviewed in Renaissance. जो Hercules ଭଳିଆ ସେମାନେ ଏମିତି text କୁ review କଲେ Renaissance ରେ. So they started focusing on human beings. Hercules, it focused on human beings. Okay, so Renaissance now started focusing on human beings. Chaucer कौन करथिले human beings को focus करूथिले किंतु morality point of view रे, church point of view रे, किए भलो किए पापी सेटा करूथिले. Now the perspective shifted. Okay, shifted where human became the major focus. This concept can be seen in the painting by Michelangelo also. Okay. को पेंटिंग रे से ताको गोटे important painting अछि creation of Adam. तमे Google करले भी देखि परिबो सेटा probably. Okay. Creation of Adam करिकि Michelangelo करथिले से जो human ता तमे देखिबो as human, Adam as human, that you will find in Michelangelo's picture. Now this picture was found in 15th chapel. Okay, got a chapel there, church bariya chapel by it was found. Now Michelangelo has placed Adam in a natural landscape as a natural man was. Okay, that is the emphasis of his painting. So Michelangelo pai God himself is depicted as human, in human form, no larger than Adam. Okay, Adam bodiya hi God को depict करूछंती Michelangelo, and God is surrounded by very human looking angels. तो से angel को भी depict करूछंती, they are looking like human beings. माने God भी human being बड़िया देखा जाउछंती. You know, human being became the center. Okay, history of literature I told you na, Routledge. Routledge history of English literature is very nice. Okay, and where are you from? I am from Cuttack. I am from Odisha. Okay, now students, where I was. Yes, so Michelangelo represented everything as human being. Can you understand my point? That now humanity, human being, human condition became the central focus. All right. ସେମିତି ତମେ ଦେଖିବ ଲିଓନାର୍ଡୋ ଡା ଭିନ୍ସିର ବହୁତ ଫେମସ୍ ପେଣ୍ଟିଂ ଅଛି ଲାଷ୍ଟ ସପର ସେଇଟା ବି ସେମିତି ଦେଖିବ Jesus here is a man looking very ordinary like a man with no heavenly features at all. Okay. କାହିଁକି ନା instead of depicting ethereal elements he is portraying human beings. ତ ଯାହା ମାଇକେଲ ଏଞ୍ଜେଲୋ କଲେ ଡା ଭିନ୍ସି ବି ସେୟା କଲେ that he depict that both of them depicted God, angel, uh, Jesus Christ, whatever in a very humanly form. So human became the center. So Renasa humanism is a belief. Okay, Renasa humanism is a belief that man has beauty, worth, and dignity. You may note this. Renasa humanism is a belief that man has beauty, worth, man रो କିଛି worth ଅଛି ଆगे ଖାଲି ଚର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଆଉ ଚର୍ଚ୍ଚ ସେଣ୍ଟର୍ଡ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କୁ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାନ୍ସ ଦିଆଯାଉଥିଲା ରିନାସାରେ ଶିଫ୍ଟ ହେଲା ଏବେ ମ୍ୟାନ୍ ହେଲେ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ଓକେ so man has they believe that man has beauty, man has worth, and man has dignity. Okay, and that life and human life is the center to everything else. Now man became important. Church based officials they were secondary. Now a normal, an ordinary man became important. Students, I want to tell you a lot, but we are running out of time. So I'm moving to Edmund Spencer. Edmund Spencer lived from 1552 to 1599. You may call it 16th century, mid of 16th century. He was born 1552 to 1599, and he was the key literary figure during English Renaissance. His father was a weaver who worked for the Merchant Taylor Company. As a boy, he was educated in the classics of Merchant Taylor School. Got a school thila Merchant Taylor School kariki. There he got education, and he was grown up in a very humanist environment where music and dramatic performance were encouraged. Tanko school re music और dramatic performance को बेसी emphasis दिया जाउଥିଲା. His education exposed him to the classical texts. Education ru se classical text ru idea paile. At the age of 16, Spencer left school to attend college at Cambridge University re padile, and there he was a Caesar. He became a Caesar, Sizar. Caesar. Caesar means equal to a study student. Okay, study student କାମ ବି କରିବ ପାଠ ବି ପଢିବ. During the time of his education in Cambridge, he found that he was already translating and writing poetry. ହେଲା ସେଇଠି ସେ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିଦେଲେ ତାଙ୍କ କାମ. First of all, they started with translation. You can see Chaucer ର ବି ସେୟା, Spencer ର ବି ସେୟା. So at Cambridge, he met a very good friend. ତାର ଯେଟା best friend ହେଇଗଲେ ପରେ Gabriel Harvey. Okay, he became a very good friend, Gabriel Harvey, Gabriel Harvey, Harvey. Okay, and that person was also a very learned, very witty, and enthusiastic person. And that person loved ancient and modern literature, jaro influence Midila Spencer ko. Okay, and that person became Spencer's best friend. बहुत गुड़ा मु तुमको skip करी दउछे. So you can see the influences. A to say classical literature interest nele because of his friend. Okay. Now other major influences were his Cambridge study. Okay, ଯେମିତି ତମେ ଦେଖିଥିଲ Chaucer influence କୋଉଠୁ ଆସିଲା France ରୁ ଆସିଲା Italy ରୁ ଆସିଲା English ରୁ ଆସିଲା Spencer ର influence କୋଉଠୁ ଆସିଲା Cambridge study ରୁ ଆସିଲା the time he spent in London there that also influenced his life. The time he spent in London when he was a member of the Court of London. So Spencer was also a member of Court of London. Okay. And then he after that Court of London re He found how court life has influenced his thoughts and how he writes about court life in some of his poems. And then he finally moved to Ireland. Third part. ତାଙ୍କର ବି three phase ଅଛି. ଗୋଟେ Cambridge education, ଗୋଟେ ତାଙ୍କ time London ରେ ଯୋଉଠି ସେ politics ଆଉ court life ଶିଖିଲେ. Third part ଅଛି ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ Ireland ପଢେଇଲେ. Ireland. 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 Okay. ଆଉ ଆୟାରଲାଣ୍ଡ ରେ ଯାଇକି ସେ କଣ ଶିଖିଲେ ଜାଣିଛ? କେଲ୍ଟିକ ପୋଏଟ୍ରି, କେଲ୍ଟିକ CELTIC, କେଲ୍ଟିକ ପୋଏଟ୍ରି ଶିଖିଲେ, CELTIC, କେଲ୍ଟିକ ପୋଏଟ୍ରି ସେଠି ଶିଖିଲେ. He learned there the methodologies of Celtic poetry Ireland ରେ. ସେଟା ବି add କଲା ତାଙ୍କର poetic writings ଗୁଡାକୁ ହେଲା. And you will find lots of Celtic influences in his poetries. Now we'll go over to his writings. First is Shepherd's Calendar. Okay. Now Shepherd's Calendar is the first poetic work published in 1579. Now ଯେମିତି ତମେ ଦେଖିଲ ଚସର ର ବୋକାସିଓ ର ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ଥିଲା, ସ୍ପେନ୍ସର ର ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ କିଏ ଥିଲା? Virgil, VIRGIL is a classical writer. And you can link Spencer's work with Virgil's first work, Eclogues, 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 ECLOGUES. Spencer Shepherd's Calendar is an influence from Eclogues. Okay, it is a series of pectals କରିକି ଅଛି. ଏଟା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ, ଏଟା ଛାଡ଼ିଦିଅ. ଏତିକି ମନେ ରଖ ଯେ ସ୍ପେନ୍ସର Shepherd's Calendar is an influence from Virgil's Eclogues. Okay. Now the entire work and title, okay, he uses deliberately with old spellings, archaic spellings use କରୁଛନ୍ତି, old spellings, okay, in order to suggest a connection to medieval literature. ପୁରୁଣା language ଜାଣିକି use କରୁଛନ୍ତି, କଣ ପାଇଁ? Connection ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି, ଏଟା ଏନାସା period ନା, that is why. Don't skip, we need detail, but dear student, waste the time. I want to continue, but what to do? We have shortage of time. Okay. So it seems you are finding my teaching interesting then. So you want me to continue? Okay. Anyway, okay. You may you may make a group, but please do not add me. Do not add me. It will be very disturbing. All the time I'm added in groups, and that's very disturbing. But apart from that, if you have doubts and problems, you may call me and ask. No problem. I'm telling, no, this is I've started with Shepherd's Calendar, and I told you that this is influenced by Virgil's Eclogues. All right. Deliberately, he uses old language, archaic spellings in order to suggest a connection to medieval literature and to Chaucer particularly. So the title also is very different from what we write in modern times. It's about Shepherd or Calendar. So it is very different, isn't it? And that is because he wanted to show his connection to Chaucer. The poem here was originally introduced by John Skelton, what a writer achanti, and depicts the life of a shepherd. Hela shepherd achanti character, the life of a shepherd through the 12 months of the journey. Eti bi journey achi. So shepherd ki achi? Colil Clout. Colil, COLIL, Colil Clout, CLOUT, Clout. He is the character. Colil Clout, COLIL, Colil Clout, CLOUT. He is a shepherd and he represents Chaucer. ମନେ ରଖ, shepherd calendar ରେ ଗୋଟେ character ଅଛି ଯେ shepherd ଅଛି. shepherd ବୁଝିଲ ତ? ଯେ ମେଣ୍ଢା ଚରଉଛି, he is shepherd. Okay, ତ again shepherd ଦେଖ କାହିଁକି ନା ଚସର ପିରିୟଡ ରେ ହେଇଥିଲା. ପିଜେଣ୍ଟ ରିଭୋଲ୍ଟ କଣ ପାଇଁ ହେଇଥିଲା? ସେମାନେ ଶିପ୍ ରେୟରିଂ କରୁଥିଲେ, ଉଲ କାଢୁଥିଲେ, ଏଗ୍ରିକଲଚର ହଉନଥିଲା, ବେଶୀ shepherd ଥିଲେ ସେଇ ଟାଇମ ରେ. ସେଇ shepherd ର ଇମେଜ ପାଇଲ ଏଇଠି. ସେ shepherd କିଏ ଅଛି? କଲିଲ କ୍ଲାଉଟ. କଲିଲ କ୍ଲାଉଟ କାହାକୁ ଡିପିକ୍ଟ କରୁଛି? ଚସର କୁ ଡିପିକ୍ଟ କରୁଛି. ରିମେମ୍ବର ଦିସ୍ ଥିଙ୍ଗସ୍. ଓକେ. Now he uses Colin Clout in a very significant way, okay, because he is the main person who represents Chaucer. Now, Shepherd's calendar consists of 12 eclogues. 12টা eclogues ଅଛି. ECLOGUES. Okay, ତ କଣ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି chapter ଭଳିଆ. Okay, eclogues is like chapters. All right. So each eclogue is named after a month. Remember, Shepherd calendar ରେ 12ଟା eclogue ଅଛି. Each eclogue is named after a month which depicts the turning of season. Okay, and the entire work here is dedicated to Philip Sidney. Okay, Philip Sidney is another writer, and it is also a character named Eliza. Ao gote character ଅଛି Eliza, who represents Queen Elizabeth. So ଖାଲି ଚଷା ନାହାନ୍ତି, ଏଠି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ Philip Sidney ଅଛନ୍ତି. Queen Elizabeth, ସେ time ରେ Elizabeth rule ଥିଲା ନା, so Queen Elizabeth is depicted as Eliza. And Eliza is found sitting with 12 pectorals. Okay. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ important କଥା ତମକୁ ଜଣେଇବି, ଯୋଉ word ଅଛି ନା sarcasm, 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 ଆମେ କହୁନୁ sarcastic ଲୋକଟା. So ଯୋଉ term ଅଛି sarcasm is first recorded in English in this poem. ମନେ ରଖ, sarcasm, the term sarcasm is first recorded in English in this poem. And the term sarcasm first was recorded in English in this poem. ହେଲା, 12ଟା eclogues ଅଛି, deals with themes such as abuses of church. ପୁରା 12ଟା chapter ଅଛି, January, February, March କରିକି ଥିବ, 12ଟା ମାସ ଅଛି. ଆଉ it talks about 12 eclogues, it talks about theme କଣ ଅଛି, abuses of church. ସେ time ରେ Catholic church ଥିଲା. Okay, and also he talks about Colill's shattered love for Rosalind. Collill ଭଲ ପାଉଥିଲା Rosalind କୁ, but he shattered. And he also took Collill Cloud as an opportunity to praise Queen Elizabeth. ହେଲା, ଯୋଉ Shepherd's calendar ସେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି ନା, Shepherd calendar ରେ he takes an opportunity to praise Queen Elizabeth. ଦେଖ, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ important feature ପାଇଲ ତମେ ଏଇଠି, that in Renaissance period Queen Elizabeth rule କରୁଥିଲେ, and all these writers, ତମେ ଏଇଟା ନେଇ ଯାଅ ସ୍ପେନ୍ସର କୁ, ତମେ ନିଅ ଶେକ୍ସପିୟର କୁ, ତମେ ନିଅ ବେନ୍ ଜନସନ କୁ, ସେମାନେ ଡ୍ରାମାଟିଷ୍ଟ ଅଛନ୍ତି, but all of these people they took lots of opportunity to praise the queen. ହେଲା, queen କୁ praise ଦରକାର ଥିଲା, so he took the opportunity to praise the queen. Now we'll go over to Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen ରେ 6ଟା book ଅଛି, ହଁ, and there is a fragment also, ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ fragment ଅଛି 6ଟା ବହି ପରେ. So out of 3 books, 3 were published in 1590 and the last 3 were published in 1609. ପରେ publish ହେଲା. So it is notable, Fairy Queen is notable for its form. ବଢିଆ form ରେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି Spencer. It is one of the longest poems in English language. ମନେ ରଖ. And it is written in Spencerian stanza. Okay, Spencer made his own style. Heroic couplet na କଣ ସେଟା ନାହିଁ. Spencer ର ନିଜ style ହେଲା. He started with Spencerian stanza. Okay, so Fairy Queen is an allegorical tale. It is created to teach his reader how to live up to the 6 virtues. 6ଟା virtue ଅଛି, ଭଲ quality ଅଛି, how to live according to virtue, that he talks about in the 6 books. खाली virtue, ଭଲ quality कौन दरकार. Okay, so that he wrote in Fairy Queen in his 6 books, and he explores each virtue in one book. 6ଟା virtue, 6ଟା ବହି, ଗୋଟେ ବହିରେ ଗୋଟେ virtue ଉପରେ ହିଁ extensively ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, 6ଟା ବହି ସେମିତି ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି. Okay. So you can see that instead of providing an instruction booklet about how to live sinless life, ସେଟାକୁ poetic way ରେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି 6ଟା ବହିରେ. Okay, ସେଟା ଗଲା ତମର Fairy Queen, and Fairy Queen actually depicts Queen Elizabeth. ହେଲା, ପୁଣି Queen Elizabeth. Then other books are there. Okay, ଆଉ କେତେ ବହି ସେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି apart from these 2, Shepherd's calendar, ଗୋଟେ ଗଲା, ଗୋଟେ ଫେରି କୁଇନ ଗଲା, ତାପରେ ସେ ଆଉ ବି କେତେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି। Complaints କରିକି is a poetry collection published in 1591. Okay, it has many poems and that expresses complaints in mournful or mocking tone. Mocking way ରେ ସେ complain କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ତାପରେ ଆଉ ବହୁତ important ଗୋଟେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି Amoreti. Amoreti is a sonnet collection. Amoreti, 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 Amoreti ର ମାନେ ହଉଛି little love poems. Okay, little love poems. ତାପରେ ଏପିଥାଲେମିଆନ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି। ଏପିଥାଲେମିଆନ ବହିରେ ପାଇଯିବ। EPITHE ଥାଲେମିଆନ EPITHE ଥାଲେମିଆନ MION। ଓକେ, ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ଓଡ୍ ଅଛି, ଆଡ୍ରେସ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି। Okay, it is an ode, it is an address to his bride on their wedding day. ନିଜ wedding day କୁ bride କୁ ନିଜ ସ୍ତ୍ରୀ କୁ ସେ dedicate କରିକି ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି ଏପିଥାଲେମିଆନ। Okay, so these were Spencerian writings. Okay, now I have tried my best to cover. Yes, prothalamion also is written. Yes, very good. He has written all these things. Epithalamion, prothalamion. ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି। Okay, now students, actually I have tried my best to cover as much as possible within this 1.5 hours, because we have done 2 blocks, and my main intention was to give you the overall information about the period, the 2 period that you did. Okay, the Chaucer period, and then this Renaissance Elizabethan period. So next class when we meet, we may continue with the next blocks. Okay, now it's almost time, it's over time. Should I leave?
Am I audible, ma'am? Munira, ma'am?
Yeah, quite clear.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for such a comprehensive and well explained lecture. I am sure our students must have been highly benefited with whatever you have taught today. And of course, they were, because not only them, but even I got to learn a lot of things, except for the little technical glitches that happened in the middle.
Yeah,
And
that's
don't worry,
irritating.
students. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
right. And though to those who were not able to join the class for the second time, do not worry. I have the entire meeting recorded. I'll send you the entire meeting personally. All right. And once again, and about the study materials, a lot of
Ma'am,
students were asking about the
hello,
study
ma'am.
materials.
Ma'am, I have some doubt.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, does every poem has rhythms?
Yes, mostly. Yes, definitely they have their own rhythm.
Ma'am,
But
ma'am,
apart
I
from
would like
there
to.
are, listen.
Yeah.
But in recent times we are writing prose poems. Okay, so there are many free verses, blank verses, so they have their different style. But otherwise, they have their own rhythm. Yes, they have.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm.
Ma'am, can you recite a poem which have both rhymes and beautiful rhythms that you like
I was
best?
reciting. No, I was reciting. I said few lines from Robert Frost. Woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. See, deep and keep.
Miles to
Uh,
go before I sleep,
yes,
and
yes,
miles
yes,
to
yes.
go before I
Ma'am,
sleep.
Very good,
ma'am,
But
very
I
good.
have
Yes.
promises to keep.
Sorry.
Ma'am, I have no time to stand and.
excuse me, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, the doubt should be that after the age of Chaucer, there was none to challenge the writing of Chaucer. Uh, that particular age was called the age of barrenness, and we have not discussed about that. For that reason, we have certain confusion left
No,
in this
you
very
can.
class.
No,
Sorry for
listen.
that. And second thing, ma'am, please excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah,
Second
sure.
thing is the success of Renaissance uh, was possible because of the introduction of the printing press in 1474 or what? Or is there any other factor that is responsible for the success of, and why there is no
Success.
criticism, like unlike it was in the age of Chaucer, why there was no criticism writing during the age of Renaissance?
What you want to say that why is there development in poetry? in
Yes,
Renasa. What you are asking?
ma'am. I want to ask that the number of writings that were
Eh,
existed during the age of Chaucer is much more lesser than the writings present in the age of Renaissance, right, ma'am? So
You mean
can we take a
criticism?
factor? No, ma'am. Whole of
Then
the parts
no.
like
Listen.
poetry or
Listen to me.
literature.
Okay, listen. You
Yes,
said that there is a gap after Chaucer, but there was not a gap. People wrote. There were people like Langland, then there were people like Wycliffe. Many people wrote, but they were not up to the mark as Chaucer. After Chaucer, the next
yes,
great poet was Milton.
yes.
Was what I called Spencer. You
Advanced.
had
Yes,
you had Erasmus. You had many writers. Thomas More. Many writers were there, but they were not as significant as Chaucer, and after that Spencer. Okay. And you will see, Sachin, I did not get as much time, but there are many other factors for Renasa, many factors, Sachin, like
yes,
Queen Elizabeth, she encouraged lots of movements across the sea. Okay. And exploring places, this was the time or this is a
yes.
bit after effect of American excavation, and people of Europe were moving. They were trying to gather more and more power. Many things happened during this period that molded and shaped and formed the writing style of these poets. Many
Actually, ma'am,
factors.
what happened? We have a limited resources here. Means we have in the name of book we have the book of that Raghukul Tilak, and which contains a limited number of informations regarding to this.
Yes. You are an MA
Yes,
student now. You need not refer to those Raghukul Tilak keys. If you
yes,
want,
yes, ma'am. For
yes.
that reason, I asked what books should you
Well,
refer
yes, you
so
were
that we
asking.
can.
Listen, every
Yes,
time upon my desktop, I keep this Routledge History of English Literature.
yes, ma'am.
Ronald Carter and John McBride. Okay, and this is the
Yes,
second edition. Routledge, Routledge. This
yes, ma'am.
will go with your standard. Okay, it won't go with your standard if now you sit and read Raghukul Tilak. Please don't do that. It will spoil your standard. Then another thing is
Yes, ma'am.
Oxford history. Andrew Sanders. You can read Andrew Sanders. Okay, history of
Okay, ma'am.
literature if you want to read, and then there are many very good pieces of history of literature books. You have Cambridge Companion as well. Mm. Then
I have one of
could
yes, ma'am.
no,
Okay,
you
ma'am.
have many, but no more. You did it, Raghukul Tilak, but please don't refer now. That,
No,
that
no.
will that will
Yes,
that will not improve your standard. I can see that you have got a good knowledge, good stand. So try
yes,
to develop it reading these quality books.
yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, Ananya madam, where are you?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Yeah, so students, if you have any doubts, then you can place it in the chat box instead of continuously switching on your microphones, because there is a lot of disturbances then. If you're switching on your microphones and trying to talk, then it will be better if you write down your doubts in the chat box so that ma'am can clear it. Added to it, see, I understand that the time was really less today, and what madam has covered today is just in a, maybe if it won't be wrong if I say that it was in a nutshell. Okay. Because there is a lot of things attached to poetry, British poetry especially.
Yes.
So yeah,
Right.
so whatever madam has taught, she has taught it in a very comprehensive way, but in a very small time, and I understand that a few things, a few questions might have left here, might just you might have in your mind here and there, but do not worry. Next class, if madam is free, then madam will only take the next class, and we'll continue this poetry session in next Sunday also, where a madam can teach you more effectively, more in a more much comprehensive way, and we can deal with single poetry, I mean one poetry a day, or we can do like that. All right.
May I
And
like
whatever doubts you have. Yes.
may I like to
Yes.
intervene, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
As I mentioned in the group also, in the chat box also, I'm actually an economics graduate actually, and I'm an English teacher in a school right now. So I teach those poems and even if prose also. I have been experienced by teaching 10 years, hardly for 10 years, and still continuing now in a CBSE school. So I heard what Madam taught today. One thing I just like to know actually, wanted to know to more clear actually, that she used that devices, that poetic devices like rhythm and rhyme scheme. So couldn't couldn't grasp it actually, rhythm and rhyme scheme.
Sir, I had to be actually very fast. I understand. And I had to skim through many things because of the time. And this rhyme and rhythm, it needs, I think, a lot of special attention. Lot of special
Yeah.
attention. Otherwise, it will be difficult. But what I feel that in your courses, in your studies, many detailed things are not needed because this is not a special paper here. The
Oh yeah.
specialty
Okay.
here is British literature. That is why I was teaching according to your needs. What you need and where you need more stress, more importance, that I dealt with. I
Right.
think
Right.
I'm answered.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
ma'am, we can do one thing, students. See, the next class, we can all, like, ma'am, Munira, ma'am, will you be free next Sunday or next Saturday, maybe any weekend, whenever you're free?
We can talk about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Hmm.
We will
One thing,
talk
madam.
about it.
Madam, one thing, madam. Please inform us prior 2 days before, no, ma'am.
Yes, yes, the mail was
So
sent
that
to you prior 2 days only. I
actually,
sent you
yeah.
the mail on Friday.
Okay, okay. Therefore, I could join now.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Mhm.
And henceforth, also, the mails will be sent to you 2 days prior the class will start. All right. And see, this is not the end of the poetry class. Okay. Do not think
Yeah,
that this
right,
is the
right.
end of the poetry
Yes,
class.
we have started. We have just started.
This has just started. Okay. There are a lot of things yet to come. All
Exactly,
right.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. While
Uh,
teaching, while teaching, I'll be teaching, this rhyme, meter, everything. So
yes.
that will
Yes,
continue.
ma'am.
Things will
Yes, ma'am.
continue.
Yes. So let's do
Appreciation
one
will
thing.
continue.
Huh.
Um,
Right,
th-
ma'am. Right.
Thanks a lot, madam.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And let's do one thing. Let's wind up today. And in the next class, we will start with another fresh, not fresh, but we will continue. And Madam will also answer your questions, whatever doubts you have, she will answer. And if I may accompany her, even I will answer a few of your doubts. And we can continue it. What say?
Ma'am,
Madam, one
who's
request, please.
Yeah, sure. Please
hello?
go
Yeah,
on.
please keeping in mind since we are working guys. So every Sunday you keep the class. Else if you fix on Saturday, it will be problem for us.
Yes,
So
yes,
keeping in mind
don't
Sunday.
worry, don't
Yeah,
worry. Your classes will take place on weekends only, like not even on Saturdays, but mostly on Sundays. All right.
Sunday.
I
That will
would
So
be
like to
don't worry about
intervene,
that.
Ananya madam. Ananya
Yes, sir.
madam.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Wait. I would like to say something, otherwise I'll forget. Actually, the Sunday to Sunday class is convenient for all of us because all the students mostly they are working. But
yes, ma'am.
you are quite old enough to read through the materials and see whatever I have taught. You can see a wider explanation of whatever I have taught, and I think you will understand. You are quite grown up for that.
Yes.
Excuse
But
me, ma'am.
if study material will receive, it will be better for us for exercise because
That is
we
good,
are
but
from
you can see the
different
PDF.
background. Because I
Yeah,
am also science graduate,
yeah.
so it
You
is
can
speaking the
see the PDF, sir. You can see the PDF. PDF is
ah
available.
Excuse,
Mm.
ma'am, books.
okay.
How can we get books? Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Yes,
Ma'am,
yes.
how can we
Excuse me,
get
ma'am.
books?
the books will reach you to your house, to your place, whichever address you have given while admitting yourselves to Odisha State Open University. Your books will reach to you that time. And please be patient. Please bear with a little bit of patience for the book students, because you all know the entire country has been going through a very difficult phase. And there were lockdowns, there were shutdowns all over the country. The printing presses were not working. The printing press has started working very recently. At the printing press from where we used to print our books, it just opened a month back, and there were a lot of books, lakhs and lakhs of books that are still getting printed. But I guess English books are already printed, and now they are sending it slot wise. So may I please request you to wait for the books for another 1 or 2 weeks at max. You will definitely get your books. No, none of the students will be kept away from the books. Do not worry. Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Okay, ma'am. I think we can wind up here then, Munira ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. And next class, we'll be discussing going further in poetry. And for any kind of assistance or for any kind of help or consultation, I'm always there. You have my number. Most of you have my number. And those who don't have my number, they have my email ID. So you can contact me anytime you want. All right. But please try not to call me after 11 o'clock. Before that, anytime at night. Before that, anytime you can call me. And thank you so much, students. You can leave the meeting one by one now. Have a nice day. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, man.
Madam, should I leave?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you very much, man.